President Barack Obama says it's time to get serious about cutting U.S. debt and creating jobs. The president met this morning with his Economic Recovery Advisory Board. So let's bring in Austan Goolsbee. He's White House Senior Economic Advisor and the Chief Economist on that panel. Austan, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Great to see you again.
Well, we heard a little bit from President Obama about what was discussed at this meeting, but as someone who was there, sitting there with the other folks, talk to us about sort of the main theme that was discussed.
Well, it was pretty interesting, and it was streamed live on the web, so anybody that was a diehard could watch the whole thing. I'd say the president laid out what he wanted them to be thinking through, which were, what do we grow into as we get out of crisis? Where are the opportunities for sustainable job creation? And what you saw these outside members of this advisory body say is they were kind of in three big areas. The first was a focus on exports, innovation, manufacturing. A second was the clean energy economy, and a third was national infrastructure. And those were kind of the three themes of the meeting.
Austan, that group included some high-profile CEOs. What did they tell you? What concerns did they express?
Well, the concerns that they were expressing it was more in the positive direction, as they were saying, look, here's where we see, again, as you come out of crisis, the imperative that we need, in the words of John Doerr, one of the members, was what are we growing to? That's what we're trying to identify. And so these CEOs identifying sectors, policies, and various areas where they thought there is an advantage potentially for the U.S. Relative to other countries of the world. If you look at the clean energy space, for example, this is an area where, by Jeff Immelt, the CEO of GE's estimation, there were as many as 10 million jobs that might be created in a clean energy economy by 2015. And the question is, where will those jobs be located?
Right.
And what policies do we need to do to get them here?
Let's step back for a minute and look at some of this economic data that we've been talking about today. The manufacturing index coming up better than expected. At the same time, we have all of this consumer data that's showing that the pickup there is not happening. So, manufacturing does not account by far for a majority of the economy. How long are we going to be on government life support here? Can the economy stand on its own?
Well, I'd say two things. Everyone's goal is to get the private sector back standing on its own. I think you're absolutely right about that. And that the role of the government in this crisis through the Recovery Act has been to try to keep us from falling off a cliff and get us back into a place where private sector recovery is the main driver. Now, manufacturing can be really important. The consumer and residential construction were the two drivers of the last boom. But those two drivers were kind of based on asset bubble and not sustainable kinds of recovery. And I think the effort that you saw from these PREP members and that the president and the administration have been saying is, let's try to get to a recovery that is, let's say, more based on export expansion, business investment, right, sustainable consumption, not consumption growing faster than income growth and just going off of housing bubble.
Austan, we have less than a minute left. A couple of questions. What exactly is the growth strategy?
Look, I'd say the growth strategy for the medium term that the PREP members are mentioning is, let's identify areas that could be of advantage to the U.S., that there could be sustainable careers and job growth that also have a side benefit, say with the clean economy and our dependence on foreign oil,
right,
or with exports, that it could help manufacturing. And let's try to put a policy focus into those kind of areas. So I'd say that's one growth strategy. But I think taking a step back, the broader growth strategy is investing in innovation and a sustainable recovery, trying not to base it on asset price bubbles.
All right, Austan Goolsbee, a White House economic advisor, talking to us about the meeting of the president's Economic Advisory Recovery Panel.